Hello everybody and welcome back to A Royal Reader. My name is Bambi and today I'm going to be doing my April wrap-up. April wasn't the best month for me. I only read 5 books. I only read 4 books. So that was, that wasn't the best. And it wasn't really a good reading month either in terms of like book-wise either. I only have 1 5-star. So I have 1 5-star read, 2 3-star reads, 1 2-star read. So it wasn't really a good month. But anyway, let's get into it. Oh, I lied, I have 2 5-star reads, I take it back. So the first book that I finished in the month of April is obviously Aurora Rising. I read this for the O.W.Ls Magical Readathon, which I did in fact fail, so that was great. This was for the topic of arithmetic, which was to read a book that is outside your genre. Aurora Rising is a sci-fi book, and I don't really read a lot of sci-fi, so it was a new topic for me to read and I really enjoyed it. So Aurora Rising follows the story of Tyler Jones and his group of space cadets, I guess you can say, and they are Squad 312 and their journey as they graduate from the Space Academy and start going on their first journey. Tyler ends up becoming late to his graduation ceremony because he was actually rescuing Aurora from a 200-year-old space ship that actually had gone missing and she was stuck in a cryopod. So he rescues her and ends up late, so he has to pick his squad out of like the really bad people who didn't score very well. Yes, it follows their journey on their first space mission, and things go a little bit crazy when they realize that Aurora has actually stowed away on their ship, and she starts showing strange powers. I really enjoyed this book. Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff are just incredible writers. They know how to write characters in a way to make you care about them, and I really enjoyed reading them and seeing them get to know each other, because when they first start out they do not like each other at all, and as they grow throughout the book you see their relationships begin to change, and it was just really interesting. I really liked it. If you are a fan of big books that have big characters and a big cast of characters, especially like Six Crows, I would definitely suggest reading this book because it was a wild ride. If you like Star Wars as well, I would definitely recommend this, and the plot twist at the end was definitely a surprise. So that was the first book that I actually ended up finishing in the month of April, and the second one is in fact Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This was for the prompt of Ancient Ruins, which was to read a book with either heart in the cover or on the title. So obviously this sort of ticks off both. So this is supposed to be a retelling of how the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland came to be. It's sort of like her backstory. This was interesting. It was a fun, very quick, sort of cringy romance, and this is the one that I gave 3 stars to. It wasn't that great, but it was just like an enjoyable, quick, easy book to read. It was a little bit boring in the beginning, especially because I didn't really know where the plot was going, and I hadn't really gotten an idea of where exactly like certain aspects were going to pop in. But in the end it did sort of like pick up, and the end of this was really quick. I think it finished within like the 50 pages towards the end, so yeah. The next book that I actually finished is Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This was for the prompt of Defense Against the Dark Arts, which was to read a book that is set either by the sea or by the coast. This one involves an island that's separated into 3 sections, and in order to get across 2 different sections of the islands they have to take a ship. So that takes that prompt. This is another book that follows a very large cast of characters. There is about, I want to say, 3 to 6 main characters that you follow along with. This follows the basically the story of Jonas, who is from the Middle Kingdom, and his revenge on the royals of Uranus for the death of his brother. It was an accident done by a very spoiled brat of a royal, and it ends up turning into this massive big thing that ends up having the kingdoms go to war, and it's just a big political mess, along with people who can use magic and an interesting aspect like that. I really didn't like this. I was very bored throughout the entire thing. This is the one that I gave 2 stars to. I found it extremely boring. Nothing was happening. I didn't care about the characters. The characters are very annoying. And because of the tagline on the front of this book, which says, "Perfect for fans of Game of Thrones," I could not stop comparing the characters to Game of Thrones characters. So, yes, but I have been told that the series does get better and that things start to pick up more. So I am possibly going to be continuing the series. I still don't know. So then to read the book that I had for the prompt of History of Magic, which was to read a book that had witches or wizards involved, I picked up The Witch's Kiss by Catherine and Elizabeth Cole, and I got to about 20 pages in and DNF'd it because this was so cringy and just the language in this was so bad. It was so bad. This book only came out in 2016, but it reads like a very early 2010 novel. Like, it's set in England. At least I think it's England, because the way that the characters just speak to each other, it's very, very, very British. And I'm talking like old classic, like rom-com British. Like really, really bad and cringy. So yeah, didn't like that. So instead, I decided to pick up the novel The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. But I picked up his book instead, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. This is basically the story of a young shepherd boy traveling across Spain to, I believe, Africa? Or just traveling across the desert and the Sahara Desert in order to find this supposed treasure that sits beneath the 3 pyramids of Giza. It was a very whimsical tale, and sort of like one of those like moralistic stories where it's like, you don't need to search for treasure because the treasure is always within you, that type of thing. It was like a bedtime story, and I finished it within a day. It was very, very short. I think it was only 150 pages. So yeah, I read that one instead. And now I have the beautiful last book that I actually finished in April, and that is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I loved this book. This book I gave 5 stars to. It was my second 5-star book of the month, of the year, sorry. I tabbed it like crazy, as you can see. I absolutely enjoyed this. Like, I cannot wait to get my hands on the 2nd and 3rd book and read them with Lucy. They were just incredible. I loved the characters in this. I love the world building. I love the descriptions of everything. It was just incredible. In this story, if you do not know the story of Nevernight, we follow 16-year-old Mia Couvert as she decides to attend the Red Church, which is basically a school for assassins, in order to get the revenge on the people who killed her father and then prisoned her mother and 4-year-old brother or something like that, or 4-month-old brother. This has a lot of political discussions because the people who did kill Mia's father are the people who are in charge of where she lives. Yes, there is also talk of the assassins and the whole world of assassins that she gets to learn about. And it was just incredible. There was so much mystery. There was so much intrigue. I cannot talk enough about this book. If you haven't read it, please go and pick it up. Take this as a sign from me to tell you, you must go and read this book, okay? Do it. Alrighty, so those are all of the books that I read within the month of April. It wasn't really that good. I did originally have Crescent City on the list, but unfortunately, within the last 2 weeks of April, I started work again and it was just insane and I was just exhausted and I could not read, which is also why I did not film anything over those couple of weeks and there is no vlog. So I do apologize for that, but please forgive me. I will attempt to film some vlogs for you guys soon. So I am still in the middle of reading Crescent City, which is why I failed my owls, because Crescent City was for my transfiguration prompt, which was to read a book that has shapeshifters in it, and Crescent City has werewolves in it. So unfortunately I did fail. But I mean, life gets in the way. But I am hoping that May is going to be a much better reading month. At the moment, I don't think it's going to be, but we shall see how well I read. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know down in the comments how many books you guys read this month and if you guys enjoyed them or not, and if you DNF'd. I had my very first DNF of the year. I am shook. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram if you want to become bookish friends. I would love to talk to more people about books and things. So yeah, go ahead, subscribe, follow, comment, like. Yes. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will talk to you guys in another video later on.